Mangwana ni Mwalelepo Vukenjani Klekos Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Bedi and Glenora Shipura. How are you, Glenn?
I'm doing very well.
Yes.
How are you? You're mentioning that
fantastic.
you're a little bit fatigued, but...
No, not fatigued at all, actually. I'm feeling quite rested.
Really? That's good. That's good.
And
that's what you want to hear during, the holiday season.
Are you feeling fatigued? Were you projecting?
Yes, I was very much projecting. Very much projecting.
Yeah.
I think it's that time of the year where everybody is just feeling like tired.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's a great time to invest in rest.
Yes.
Work on sleep therapy. I'm working on that now.
Sleep therapy?
Yes.
Oh.
Something called sleep therapy. So before you go to bed, an hour before bed, you switch off your phone. You don't have, artificial light, etc. So it's a whole process around.
When I was growing up, sleep therapy was eating half a plate of pap. You call it a day.
And then you fall asleep. Well, getting into what you can expect in today's broadcast. Congolese diaspora in Paris embraces historic opportunity to vote from abroad. India opposition in fury as 78 MPs suspended in a day. Coffee firms turning away from Africa as EU deforestation law looms. A little bit later in the show, we'll be crossing over to South Africa, speaking to Ari Hogat, who'll be filling us in on the latest news over there. Do stay tuned for this and more on Africa Good Morning.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Getting into our top stories, in Paris, members of the Congolese diaspora expressed their joy for being able to vote for the first time from abroad in presidential and legislative elections to be held on Wednesday in the Democratic Republic of Congo, that is today. They are aware that the diaspora of 13,250 voters, including nearly 6,000 in France, may not make a difference in comparison to the 44 million registered in their country, but they are nonetheless proud. I'm proud, says Papi Taiti, a member of the Congolese community in Paris. However, amid the joy, there are poignant expressions of concern and urgency.
Indian opposition leaders have accused Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government of attacking democracy after 78 MPs were suspended from parliament in one day. The MPs were protesting against last week's security breach in parliament. Overall, 92 opposition lawmakers have been suspended from the two houses of parliament in the ongoing session. Most of them have been barred for the rest of the winter session, which ends on Friday. Around 24 of them may have to stay away for longer, depending on the decision of the Parliament's Privileges Committee. Monday's suspensions are expected to worsen already frosty relations between the opposition and Modi's government. Most of the suspended MPs are part of the India Alliance, a coalition of opposition parties that hopes to take on Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party in next year's general election.
Now, importers of coffee from the European Union are starting to scale back purchases from small farmers in Africa and beyond as they prepare for a landmark EU law that will ban the sale of goods linked to the destruction of forests, a cause of climate change. Industry sources said the cost and difficulty of complying with the EU deforestation regulation, which comes into force late 2024, meant it was already having unintended impacts that could in time reshape global commodities markets. Foresighted drying up of orders in recent months for coffee from Ethiopia, where some 5 million farming families relying on the crop. They warned that sourcing strategies being adopted by companies in advance of the law risk increasing small-scale farmer poverty and raising prices for EU consumers, while also undermining the EU DR's impact on forest conservation.
In our next story, with an eye toward regional integration and cross-border trade, Uganda on Monday announced that Congolese nationals would no longer need visas to enter its territory as of the 1st of January 2024. This concludes a process that has been marred by multiple negotiations since the Democratic Republic of the Congo joined the East African Community EAC in July 2022. With a waiver, the DRC is now able to enjoy the benefits of the region, including free movement of people among member states, as specified in the EAC Common Market Protocol, wherein partner states are required by Article 7(2)(d) to permit citizens of other partner states to enter without a visa. During the 8th Joint Permanent Commission held on the October 11th to the 15th, 2023 in Kinshasa, DRC, both parties agreed in principle to waive the visa requirement for citizens of both countries.
And conservationists are using GPS collars in a bid to protect the world's most endangered zebra. The experts from the Marwell Wildlife in Winchester, Hampshire, will use the technology to monitor 20 Grevy's zebra in northern Kenya. The project, in collaboration with Kenya Wildlife Service and Grevy's Zebra Trust, will track the animals for 1 year. The data will be used to inform planning and conservation decisions. The Grevy's zebra is one of the rarest equids in the world and can only be found in northern Kenya and isolated groups in Ethiopia. The GPS collar project comes as plans are underway to develop Eastern Africa's most ambitious infrastructure project, which forms part of Kenya's growth and development plan. Those have been our top stories on Africa. Good morning. Now in South Africa, they are preparing for elections. They are next year. There's been a lot of very pivotal moments. One of them being Thabo Mbeki saying that he's not going to vote for the ANC, and the other one being Jacob Zuma saying he won't vote for the ANC, endorsing a new political party. I'm not quite sure what the name is, but for the ANC that spells trouble. We already know the scale of Jacob Zuma's support. It's enough to derail an entire economy, and this is after he was arrested. Right? So if people are willing to go out for him when he's arrested, what more when he's out in the open?
Supporting
so
the ANC, yes.
Tricky times for ANC, possibly for DA, which seems to be fading into oblivion, and the EFF seems to be getting their track shoes started. But Ari Hohad will let us know how it's all going to be going down after the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
All right, I wasn't expecting to see Ari. It seemed like we're having problems, and you know, with the ESCOM, anything can happen in South Africa. But we are ready to go, and as Glenn puts her headphones on, I'm going to go ahead and just talk to you, Ari, already. How's it going?
Yes, very good morning, Ashwin, and nice to talk to you all the way from Strathspey here in the southern tip of Africa. So it's a long way for Wi-Fi to connect to wherever they hit, but it did it, so we're impressed.
It's looking good over there, Ari. It's looking good. Yikes. How does that end of your fatigue feel now? Because now Ari's
Seeing
like
that background, Ari, I want to join.
All right, but Ari, you, myself, and Glenora are having a much better day than the ANC. As they anticipate elections, there's several challenges which are entering their path. Tell us about that.
Yes, Ashwin, it's an important year coming up, 2024 elections, of course, the national elections, and the ANC has been under pressure, but also mainly because some of the promises that was made didn't realize, and I think everybody realized that it's flexible situations and we must take lots of things into account, the Russian, etc. That's the President Ramaphosa, so he's under pressure now with the announcement, of course, of former President Jacob Zuma that confirmed that he's not going to vote for the ANC. He aligned him with the New Nkonto with Sizwe party. There is, so that's not good. It's with previous presidents or previous presidents of the party and the country not confirming to vote for the ANC. So that's been a challenge coming for a while. So I think the pressure mainly is around the economy, also job creation. Unemployment is very high. And then we know the state-owned entities under pressure, like the post office and Transnet and Postnet, Transnet and Portnet that we talked quite a bit about, and then also Eskom and load shedding. So there's lots of pressure all over, and so the ANC need to be really strong in the new year if they want to maintain the voting percentages that they got in the previous election 5 years ago.
Well, I'm quite interested to see how this plays out. Now, moving on, one of my favorite, if ever I'm traveling by bus, I always use Intercape. So I'm a little bit worried to hear that they are continuing to struggle to get protection from the South African police as instructed by the court. What's happening?
Yeah, there's the latest court ruling was just yesterday or the day before, and it basically it was an order against the police commissioner for contempt of court. So there's been two rulings. It's been judgments basically in September 2022 already last year that the transport minister then Fikile Mbalula needed to come up or supply or get ready with a plan specifically to protect the buses. And he didn't do that. In June 2023, it was again the same case. It's about mostly the Eastern Cape. It's for protection of the bus services. There's been 176 attacks on the bus company, and it cost them more than 50 million in damages. There's also a driver that died in a shooting accident. So the implication is that it's from the taxi associations in that area that don't want the bus, obviously, bus services to operate there. And so what the bus company is asking for protection, and the courts did say in lots of rulings that the police need to put together a plan to protect them. Not happening. There's no escorts. There was a bit of improvement, but so it's costing the bus company a lot of money, unfortunately, as well. They need to have extra security and extra people that escorting them into those areas, costing them 20 million a year to do that. So we'll see. But now the police commissioner, Fani Masimolo, he's been charged with contempt of court. So hopefully there will be some action now.
All right, Ari, let's talk about the shipping companies which are rerouting because of attacks on the Red Sea, in the Red Sea rather.
Yeah, that's also that's mainly because of the Israeli war, so to speak, and Hamas. And there's been attacks on boats, but that's been mostly happening in the militant Houthi group that's been doing that, and that is in the Red Sea. So obviously the link between Asia and Europe goes through Egypt there, through the Red Sea, the Suez Canal. So that's not happening. That's Cape Town in the backdrop. So boats need to come all the way down the southern tip of Africa. If I wait long enough here, I'll probably see them go past at the back here. But it's a massive disruption for those vessels, of course, but it's for protection. So it's lots of massive container ships that will go past Cape Town. The challenge at the moment is they can't really go into the harbors because as it is, the containers, South Africa do have a problem with getting all the containers out of the sea. There's a backlog of almost 100,000 containers linked to several ports around the coast of South Africa. Even coasts like Walvis Bay and Maputo has been used by some of the containers companies to get their boats off. So there's about 70 vessels still waiting to be helped. It takes them about 9 days to be helped on average at the moment. So maybe the ships will maybe just go past Cape Town, but some of them I'm sure that needs to go and put on anchor just outside the harbour to get in needed resources. So, but that's rerouting past the Cape Town. There's not lots of space here in the sea, but it's going to be busy.
All right, now getting into your last story, Christmas spending might be marginally less compared to last year, even though consumers are still expected to spend several billions of rands during the festive season. Yes,
the trend continues. Obviously, there's lots of money flowing around in Christmas time always. The implication is linked to what happened on Black Friday. Apparently, when they do their assumptions, they can get an indication from what happened in Black Friday. But that's the Christmas time. I think maybe while I have the opportunity, maybe just to remind people, it's not only about giving presents. There's more to Christmas than that. But obviously, we do give presents. But they expect 224 billion rand to be circulating around in this time. It's about 4% less than last year. Average spend, they say, is about 6 rand per person in this time. So it's quite a lot. And the 33% is for food and drink. So people are quite thirsty and hungry in the festive season. But yeah, it's a time to be together with family, and it's a special time. We need to make the best of every day and every season. So also from my side, blessings for everyone for the Christmas time, and it was a great year for all of us. And so hopefully we will have a blessed Christmas time and see in the new year again.
Oh, truly, Ari, it's been a wonderful year with you on Africa Good Morning. A wonderful 3 years. Can't believe we've been doing it for that long. We certainly wish you a Merry Christmas. Of course, you and I can't exchange gifts, but I do have a middle ground. Liverpool and Arsenal could draw on Saturday, which works for me because my wife is a Liverpool supporter. You're a Liverpool supporter. No awkward energy. I'll take that, if you will.
Absolutely. I think both of us will get presents wrapped in red, at least. So,
That's
hopefully
for sure.
that will be good for us.
Cheers, Ari. Stay safe, man. All right, we're going to head down to the
blessings to all of you.
weather. All right, let's head to the weather.
To another exciting episode of Irongo Talk. Jou lief die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis julle moontlik gaan byt.
Let's get into the economic news stories. Kenya's Competition Authority said yesterday it has penalized local Carrefour franchise holder UAE-based Majid Al Futtaim for 1.1 billion Kenyan shillings, $7.15 billion, for abusing its ability to set terms to suppliers. The supermarket chain is required to amend all its supplier contracts and expunge clauses that facilitate abuse of buyer power, the antitrust regulator said in a statement.
In our next story, the Cahora Bassa hydroelectric scheme in the center of Mozambique and one of the largest dams on the African continent plans to increase its production capacity by 5% following investments of 500 million euros, according to the company's board of directors. Cahora Bassa's good operational and financial results are a reflection of the performance of the human resources staff who, under the management team, have been able to lend their knowledge and expertise, recognizes the chairman of the board of directors, Guavida Lopez Muhambe.
All right, we're going to head to the indicators just before we head to the sport.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment.
Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune in to Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
All right, so it is an exciting sporting weekend coming ahead.
Are you nervous, actually?
Yes. Are you serious? Listen, if you look at a single interview from Sir Alex Ferguson, from Arsene Wenger, from the most potent coaches in the world, Jurgen Klopp, Jose Mourinho, they will tell you that Anfield is a fortress. And what's crazy is that at Anfield, in the opposition team's changing rooms, it is actually hollow. So the seats are rubbish, right, already, and it's hollow, so you get to hear the stadium almost directly. You can barely hear each other. So that's really how difficult they make it. But of course, with Arsenal, I'm feeling a little confident, you know. It's a different season, it's a different time. But last night was the Carabao Cup, and it got dramatic between Newcastle and Chelsea because the two teams went to penalties. Newcastle scoring first in an emphatic goal, and then Chelsea following that up with a goal from Mudryk, which was in injury time. Yeah, and then they went straight to penalties, and at penalties, Chelsea won that one. Some people are surprised. I know I am. I know me and other Chelsea fans are surprised by that one. Everton played Fulham. Fulham getting the best of Everton. This was also yesterday. Middlesbrough 3-0 against Port Vale. That was certainly expected. So Fulham beat Everton on penalties. It was 2 penalties. And yeah, what's interesting about Carabao is that the defending champions aren't there. Manchester United. They're nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found. Carabao Champions
You had to
League.
bring it up.
They're strictly hanging out in England. Stay with Africa. Good morning. Highlights after the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
As the ANC worries about its election future, Congolese in the diaspora are excited to be voting today for the first time. Thank you for joining Africa Good Morning from Glenn Rashpura and Ashwin Berry. Swera Jaganaka.